with Steve Conte. Now, Steve, what we do here on the Big Fat American Rock Show, and as we talk to our audience, we let the artists come in and do their rock and roll resume. This way, it makes it so it's easier for me to do, and you have to do more of the work. Well, you know, someone's got to know what you're up to these days, and a little bit of your history.
Oh, talk about myself.
Yeah.
Oh, how dull. Okay.
I don't think
Hi,
it's
everybody.
so dull.
No,
Go, come on.
I'm teasing, but I've done it a million times, but your listeners may not know me. So, everybody out in Radio Land, I'm Steve Conte. Let's see, my resume in 60 seconds. Currently with Michael Monroe and my own band, Steve Conte NYC, or just Steve Conte, the solo project. Before that, I was with New York Dolls. Before that, Willie DeVille, Paul Simon, Billy Squire, Peter Wolf, studio musician. I played on records by Maceo Parker, Billy, Peter, who else you might know? Tons of...
Well,
nobody good, though,
Well, no, I'm just
Phoebe
amazed.
Snow I worked with for years because she was my vocal mentor, one of my favorite singers ever. I've been doing stuff like that, studio work and film and television soundtracks. I just came from a film festival in Jersey last night, the Golden Door Film Festival in Jersey City, where my video for my latest single, Gimme Gimme Rockaway, was featured. It kicked off, actually, their whole 4-night film festival in Jersey City.
Where'd you grow up?
Beautiful. I'm from upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
I lived there till I was about 9, up in Utica area, Buffalo, up there. And then moved to Mattawa, New Jersey.
Oh,
and
exit 117.
Exit 117, 120, depending on which way you're coming. And went to high school there and Rutgers, and then moved to the city.
What were the radio stations that you would listen to growing up?
WNEW, of course.
Right. Any PLJ?
I listened to PLJ, in a pinch.
Right.
That was more like the hit radio.
Yeah.
So, PLJ, and there was another one, WAPP.
I remember New York's Apple, the commercial-free summer, and then when they started running commercials, they got no ratings, so they had to change the format. Then before that, there was 1019 PIX. Remember, it was a heavy metal station?
Oh, no, I don't remember that one.
Oh, man, that was great.
No, but NEW was my home.
Oh, of course.
I mean, I knew all the DJs.
Right.
I was so heartbroken when I found out about Dave Herman a couple years ago.
Oh,
horrible. Scott Muni was my that soothing voice, and Allison Steele would put me to sleep. And,
Right.
All those guys, Pete Fornatell, and who I got to do an interview with the Dolls, and Dan Neer and Richard Neer, and everybody.
And I worked with all of those guys. And I worked with Scott Muni for many years. He was a great friend of mine. But I'm still a little upset at Dan Neer because I was in college having a really bad day, and it was in the early 80s. It was April Fool's, but I didn't realize it was April 1st. And he starts going off about a big announcement about Led Zeppelin, as if there's going to be...
What year?
Probably 82, 81, 82, maybe 83. I don't remember. It was the early 80s. So I'm thinking that Led Zeppelin is going to get back together with a new drummer, Carmine Appice or whoever they were going to put in the lineup. And I'm sitting there. I'm having a really bad day. Right? Really bad day. I'm sitting in this playground area where they shoot basketball. It's night, and I'm listening to the radio, only to find out it was an April Fool's joke. Jerk. But he's a great disc jockey. When I was listening to the radio growing up, much like you, we did have NEW, but earlier than that was either ABC or NBC.
Oh, the AM stations.
Right,
yes.
the AM stations.
Yeah, when I was growing up, when I was a little kid, those were
right.
WABC, ding dong. Yep.
Yeah.
Who was it? Harry Harrison.
Well, you had Harry Harrison and Ron Lundy. Hello,
Lundy.
love. Dan Ingram. Ingram
yeah.
Flingram. Scott Muni was on in the early 60s. They did Night Scotland's Yard. But yeah, so there were those personalities on ABC, and then there was NBC where you had Imus in the Morning,
NBC.
Cousin Brucey,
Right.
Vernon with a V, Oogie Pringle. I couldn't believe that I still remembered the lineup, and we would fight as kids, like what was the better station. And for whatever the reason, I liked the NBC guys because there was something about their personality that was a little bit, instead of like that standard Boss Top 40 where they're really good, NBC, all of that, these guys would goof around and joke more. I always liked that about the radio. And then, of course, as I got older, I listened to PLJ for a little while. You had Tony Pig and Jim Kerr and Carol Miller was at night. And then the NEW guys, I always
Meg
liked
Griffin?
Scott.
Or was
Meg
she-
Griffin was NEW. I really always liked Scott because I thought, hey, there's a guy in his 50s who likes the same kind of music as I do.
Scott had just had a great, he had a great
voice, yeah.
And just so soothing. And I just love that, you know, and back then everybody played what they wanted to play.
That's right.
So he would have Things from England,
British biscuits and things from England.
the Strawbs.
And
And
he
he
would
always played the Strawbs. Like,
right.
What the hell knows the Strawbs, man?
Well,
what are you playing them for?
let me tell
I mean,
you,
it was fine, but, you know,
sometimes
glad I got to hear him, but okay, it wasn't not my favorite. Renaissance, he would play Annie Haslam.
Circus Maximus, Wind, or Friday the 13th by Chris Spedding, the Guitar Jamboree.
I love Chris. Chris Spedding's
Well,
my man. He's like
Let
one
me
of my
tell
good
you,
friends.
Scott loved the Guitar Jamboree.
I
We
never
didn't
heard him
have
play
it.
that.
We did.
Oh, man.
But what we had to do was we had an intern, and we sent this poor kid. His name was, I remember his name. It's Dale's son. All right, well, anyway, we sent this kid to the village to one record store after another trying to find Chris Spedding's Guitar Jamboree. Found it. We played it. What made you decide to get into rock and roll? That's, I guess, the main question here.
Revolver.
The Beatles album. Everybody's got a Beatles album that they dig, that they talk about being an influence. What was it about that album that made you want to get into rock and roll?
It sounded like nothing that I ever heard. I mean, I was just a little kid when it came out, but it sounded like nothing else on the radio. The drums, the compression, the room, you could hear just the sonics of it, and the loops and the crazy stuff on Tomorrow Never Knows, and
Right.
that whole thing. It was like mainly. It was She Said, She Said, and Tomorrow Never Knows. Those two Lennon songs for me were like, that's it. This is what I want to do.
When you
and,
listen,
and Taxman.
and you
I mean, I
listen,
like the Paul songs, but,
yeah,
but it was
but
John.
Taxman's really good.
John
song.
and George were my Beatles. Yeah.
So you get into rock and roll. What did your parents tell you?
Well, they were jazz musicians. So
Ah.
my mom was a jazz singer, and my dad was just a jazz aficionado who had a great record collection. He just passed away recently, and I've been going through. Thanks. Been going through all his records, and Wes Montgomery. I grew up listening to those records. Miles Davis, Coltrane, blues records, and but he had no rock and roll records. So I had to find out about the Beatles and Revolver from their friends. They had like a couple come over one night. I never forget these people. Tony and Gina Gaetano. Where are you? I need to look you up and thank you. This couple came over to have dinner with my parents, and they brought Revolver. And we had nothing like that in our house. And it was like mind-blowing. My brother and I sat there with the headphones on and staring at the album cover. And they ended up going home and left the album with us to borrow for a week.
That's nice.
And so we had no rock in the house. And then after that, I think my mom bought maybe Simon & Garfunkel Bookends. And then we had a Dylan record, and they kind of slowly got. They never really bought rock records though. It was like, by the time we could buy our own albums, we were buying Chuck Berry, we were buying Beatles, Stones, Sly and Family Stone, Jay Giles, Black Oak, Arkansas.
Nice. Now, who was the one that was a little bit more open? Because in my family, my dad was kind of like square with the music. But my mom, the first album she ever got me was Vanilla Fudge. She hands it, she goes to me, check this, you're going to like this. Why? Well, Led Zeppelin opened up for them in the beginning. I'm like, okay, Ma. And I'm like, no, not bad. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then the first movie she ever gave me was Up in Smoke. I mean, I'm sitting there, she goes, here, you're going to like this video. Then I'm watching, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, my mom is into Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke, and Vanilla Fudge. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. When you went through your dad's jazz collection, as you go through it now, did you get any surprises that you didn't? Wow, this old man he was an interesting cat.
I found only a couple of pop records in there. I found Spanky and Our Gang.
Okay.
Do you remember them?
Now, were you surprised?
Late 60s. I mean, I remember when they were on the radio when I was a little kid.
That's great.
I remember, my parents split up, so when I was really young, so he took his records and went his way, and my mom had her collection. So I probably hadn't seen that record since I was 12, and I was like, wow, going, bringing me back with this one. There was a couple of them. There was the James Taylor Mudslide Slim, but there were no like rock. There wasn't a Beatles record. There wasn't a Stones record. There was the closest thing to what I would like.
Yeah.
There was a couple of Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters.
Oh, nice.
Records,
there you go. And we're talking.
But those, I didn't grow up listening to those. He just had amassed those, probably in the 30 years that,
When you mentioned
collection.
When you mentioned Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and Willie Dixon, who are some of the blues influences on your career?
Certainly those two guys, Howlin' Wolf and his guitar player Hubert Sumlin, who I was fortunate enough to play with a number of times.
Oh, that's great!
Such a great guy. I miss him. Muddy, and I never got to meet Muddy, but I played with his friend Bob Margolin, who played on all that '60s and Muddy stuff.
Well, see, if you played with him, then he's a disciple of Muddy. So,
Yeah.
in essence, you're with Muddy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And he was really fun to play with too.
Oh, that's cool.
We got along great. We spoke the same musical
Nice.
language.
It's good.
It's just making me think of this gig that I did where it was in Woodstock about 10 years ago almost now. I did the music for a movie called The Perfect Age of Rock and Roll. It's about all these, the title coming from all these guys died at 27, right? Cobain.
Oh yeah, there's a 27
Janis,
Club.
and
Amy
Kurt
Winehouse.
and Amy and Morrison. So based on that's where the title comes from, and the story is basically a band from around the Guns N' Roses era, fictional band, wants to make another go. They'd broken up. They want to make another go at coming out and doing a new album. So I wrote the songs that band was supposed to do. They were called the Lost Souls, and part of the deal with this band getting back together was the singer. The guitar player had to talk the singer into, if you want to put the band back together, we have to do a juke joint tour and go down Route 66 and go to all these old blues joints.
Oh, cool.
And so in the movie, they go into these blues joints, and we had recorded the soundtrack with me and Sugar Blue on harmonica, who played on, Some Girls, the Stones record, and he's a great harmonica player. Wears the gun belt with all the harps, every key.
That's great.
And Pine Top Perkins, who played with Muddy and tons of old blues guys. He's one of the real deal guys. All these guys have died since. Willie Big Eye Smith on drums, who played with Muddy. Hubert and Bob Stroger on bass. And we did a couple of tracks. Train Kept Rollin' was one that we did. Me and Hubert traded licks on it, which was really fun. And then it premiered at the Woodstock Film Festival. And we did a jam. We did a gig, and that's where I met and played with Bob Margolin, and I played live with the guys, and that was super cool. I wish there was there is a video that exists of it. It's on YouTube.
We've got to find that
You can
one.
Google it. Yeah, it's Woodstock Film Festival 2009. I don't know whose name, probably Sugar Blue or
We'll find it.
Yeah.
We'll put it on the website.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and I do, what did I do with them? I can't remember now.
Well, when you were on stage doing that, it would be like a fat kid in a candy shop. How was that feeling on stage at that point?
Great, like I belonged there.
Yeah? Like you meshed, the
just-
spirit meshed.
Yeah, because I had a blues band for a long time.
Yeah.
We had a blues band called the Hudson Riverettes, my brother and I.
Oh, cool.
And we started in 1988. We played every Wednesday night at the Acme Bar and Grill on Great Jones.
Okay.
And then we moved it to the Lone Star Roadhouse on 52nd Street, and everybody came down to play with us at that time. It was like Willie DeVille came down, and David Johansen when he was doing his Buster, and Phoebe Snow was a regular, Cyndi Lauper, Carole King,
man.
all these people. It was on the news, it was like a big scene. And Bernard Purdy became our drummer for a while, and it was. And Rob Paparosi was the harmonica player, and he was just a monster, and he still is. He's out there doing Broadway shows and sessions and records. And so, I got to play with so many great blues players. John Paris, do you know him?
Mm-hmm.
John Paris was part of the band too, in the Uptown Horns. So we had a great band, and we did
That's
that
awesome.
for a number of years. So, I was pretty at home playing blues. And Charlie Musselwhite used to come down and play harp with us. it was an amazing time.
I like you because you seem like you're inclusive of all the different styles, and you learn from all of these different artists, and then you become your own master. That's awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes I think I'm a musical schizo.
Well, that's okay. You know, I
A
mean,
marketing nightmare.
it's not important for us to know whether that's true. It's important for you to know whether
Yeah,
that's
well, you know, record labels don't know what to do with you. If,
true. Oh, I see what you're
not
saying.
that, you know, record labels matter anymore.
Not
To
anymore.
someone like me, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not 12 anymore. That's what they're looking to sign these days.
I think
you
they're a
know.
crutch.
But you know, I never wanted to make the same record twice. I never wanted to, you know, have one hit sounding song and then clone it with
Yeah.
9 other ones
Yeah,
that sound
yeah,
just like it.
yeah.
You know, I'm a fan of the White Album. You know,
Yeah,
I
that was
I
all
always-
over the place.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Physical Graffiti. I mean, why can't
All
we
over
make
the
records
place.
like that?
Those
you
are-
know? Why can't there be a blues and then an acoustic ballad and then a heavy thing and then a melodic? You know,
Well, yeah. I
power
mean,
pop. You know?
what are you doing nowadays?
Well, right now I have a record out on Little Steven's Wicked Cool Records.
Wow,
label.
that's a great label. I really like
Yeah.
that. Cool.
And like I mentioned before, the video for that single, which is called "Gimme Gimme Rockaway," I should have brought.
we can.
I'm a fool.
It's fine.
I do have a
You know, I'm gonna.
compact.
I'm gonna
disc. I
treasure
don't know if you
this.
have a vinyl.
I still have.
A vinyl player here. What do
No,
you call
I-
those things? Oh, record players.
Yeah.
Turntable.
You try to tell a kid what a record or record player is like, huh?
Well,
Want
there's,
to play Fortnite?
supposedly there's a resurgence of vinyl.
There is.
Well, we'll
It's
see.
a billion-dollar industry now, so obviously big resurgence.
Well, so that came out.
This is
Gimme
nice.
Gimme Rockaway. That came out a few years ago. That's my own label. But Gimme Gimme Rockaway came out on pink vinyl. It was a
Oh, wow.
two-sided 45 RPM, 7-inch.
Oh, cool.
The B side is Janis Joplin's Mercedes-Benz, a version I've been doing for years. Like I put chords to it.
I gotta
you know?
hear that.
Yeah, well, you can find it on
Yeah.
YouTube. And,
Or I could go to
and
I could go
Spotify
to-
and iTunes, and it's everywhere.
I could go to Little Steven's label and probably order it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, there's
that'd be
not
great.
many copies of the vinyl left. It was a limited pressing, 500. They only made
Oh,
500.
okay. All right.
But there's downloads, and they might just send you one anyway for
I'm
your show.
definitely. I'm gonna listen to that one.
But Steven
That's-
has been very supportive. He made 2 of those, I think 5 songs from that Steve Conte NYC album. Made his playlist of 2015, and one of them was the coolest song in the world.
Really.
For a month or whatever, a week, and then it was number 2 coolest song of the year. So
Hey.
a guy named Bruce beat me for number 1.
Oh, I wonder how that would happen.
So anyway, so Steven's been very supportive. Every record I've put out in the last 3 or 4 years, he has jumped on. And,
He's your champion.
Yeah, and made the coolest songs in the world. Gimme Gimme Rockaway was. My last covers album called International Cover Up. I did a cover of Somebody's Gonna Get Their Head Kicked In Tonight. You ever hear that?
Nice. I haven't heard that
That
one.
was
No.
a coolest song. So, and we're talking about what to do next. They want me to do another single for the label. I'm working on new material. I have more than enough for, 5 new records. But the thing is, I have to zero it down to 10 songs, and
Well, you can always do an old-fashioned double album. How about that? Call it Physical Graffiti 2. Who are some of the bands that you really admire?
I mean, growing up, it was Beatles and Stones first, and Zeppelin. Then I was a big Jay Gallus fan.
Wolfa Tuffa. That's good stuff. Yeah.
Peter, love him. Leonard Skinner.
Love Skinner.
Um,
Southern Fried Boogie Woogie Woogie with Cajun spices and hot sauce. Doesn't get any better than that.
I just saw Peter Wolf play with open for Skinner, in fact.
Wow.
And, yeah, it's kind of funny because these days, I have friends in Leonard Skinner, and I'm friends with Peter Wolf. So it's like all the bands I grew up listening to, I have some connection to now.
That's
like,
awesome.
Professionally, And Willie DeVille and Mink DeVille, I was into. Who else? The Ramones, of course, Cheap Trick. But I also got into a heavy, prog and jazz and fusion phase where I went into, Mahavishnu Orchestra and Jeff Beck and then, of course, old traditional, Miles Davis and Coltrane and Charlie Parker and then, the fusion guys Mike Stern and John Scofield and all the, crazy, funky jazz rock guys. I think Radiohead, the first bunch of records, I kind of fell out of interest after a while with them, but they had some really great sounds, and I'm all over the place with my listening. I don't really listen to too many rock bands.
Yeah,
because
I get it.
I already do that.
Yeah, I understand.
So I listen to,
I don't
like,
listen to the radio.
dub reggae from the 60s, or flamenco from the 70s.
I found myself
gypsy, real
I
stuff.
found myself listening to the Ink Spots and Nat King Cole just to like change it up. I'm like, wow, what a great voice this guy has. And then I somehow would go through my CD pile and then I rediscovered Cream. But it was after I was listening to a Jimi Hendrix recording where he's talking about the Cream and he plays a little Cream tribute. Then I really dig all of these releases from Jimi Hendrix, like Manish Boy. I think that's a Muddy Waters song.
Oh, yeah.
You heard it? It's phenomenal to me. So I don't know about you, but
Oh,
sometime, yeah. And then, but you go into the old stuff that's just sitting on a shelf and you put it on and like, wow. And I'm listening to Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker. I'm like, whoa, these guys are really good.
Jimmy was my man. I mean, I liked Clapton a little. I mean, Derek and the Dominoes was my favorite.
That's good.
Clapton.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
Blackface.
have Dwayne Allman in the
you know,
lineup.
I appreciate Cream, but I'll rarely put a Cream record on. It's
Yeah.
a little too dated for me. A little too like.
Well, the reason.
Like, you thought the winter.
Well, the only reason why I
okay.
went there is because of Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, if Jimi Hendrix likes him, why not?
But I love those Hendrix records, especially Electric
fantastic.
Ladyland, and I liked the double albums for some
Yes.
reason. The White Album, Physical Graffiti,
Yep.
Electric Ladyland. Some people ask me for my Desert Island albums. Maybe.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe because I get more music with a double album.
That's right.
But just it seemed like with the double albums, you could stretch out and have more different kind of material than if you have a 10-song,
You're right.
single LP.
I remember when I was a kid going to Jack's Music Shop in Red Bank. Remember that place?
Oh yeah, I got a Strat there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also
Johnny.
that's where you'd buy your tickets for concerts a lot,
Yep.
right? So
Front Street.
right, I think they moved, but they're still there. So I would want to get some Led Zeppelin, and I would do what you did. I'm like, well, this is more value in the double album. I'm getting a double album, and I would totally enjoy it, especially Physical Graffiti, great album. Same thing with the greatest hits packages. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is another great double album
Yeah.
I could think of. But then I would do this insane stuff. I go see somebody in concert, then I go to Russ to Jack's and buy all of the different albums, right in a row.
You're a completist.
Yeah, had to have the complete
Yeah,
thing. I
me
mean, it
too.
was just crazy.
When I discover a band that I love, I left 2 bands out. XTC is a huge
cool.
band for me. I got everything they ever did, and the Pixies.
Oh, okay.
So I go from blues to blues rock to punk to new wave to bebop jazz and
Nice.
world music. So I am a schizo boy.
Well, we're just going to have you back because this is too much fun of a conversation. We could talk for hours.
Yes, we
but
could.
Don't have that time.
I wish I had more time. I have a recording session today, in fact.
Is
I'm
this
going
for
to,
your own album? or
No,
you
it's
work on
for
somebody else?
I do studio work as well.
That's great.
So today I'm singing a song for somebody.
Fantastic.
I have to learn it on my iPhone.
I love it.
On my way to the next gig, I have my little headphones, and I make my little notes. Okay, melody goes up here, it's down here.
Well, thank you for stopping by. It's been
Thank
a
you,
pleasure.
Zach.
We're going to do some stuff down the road, I'm sure, and we'll be talking to you again. Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Initiate.
Broadcasting from the Rock and Roll Bomb Shelter.
I'm ready.
Surrounded by radioactive biscuits and the world-famous Rock Hives, located 40 feet beneath the radio station. It's the Big Fat American Rock Show with your host, the Doc of Rock, the Professor, everyone's favorite mad music magician, crazy uncle, and your best friend in the whole wide world, Zach Martin.